I'm back, and you're watching the World News. I'm Randolph Jamias. We start the news from the southeast. The death toll from the Philippines' strongest typhoon has risen to nearly 300 people, with hundreds more missing in landslides and floodwaters. Here's more details.
Typhoon Bopha, with central winds of 120 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 150 kilometers per hour, battered beach resorts in northern Palawan, but little damage was sustained. Hardest hit were the coastal farming and mining towns in the southern Mindanao region, where Bopha made landfall on Tuesday. Arthur Yee, governor of the worst-hit province, Compostela Valley in Mindanao, said waves of water and mud came crashing down mountains and swept through schools, town halls, and clinics where huddled residents had sought shelter. The death toll in the province currently stands at 160. A military officer said severed communications was a major problem.
Of course, the power shortage is one, and communication problem, walang cell site na functional in New Bataan compounds the problem.
Families were separated in the flash floods and landslides. Survivors are clinging to the hope that their loved ones are still alive.
I'm hopeful I'll find my son. That's why I'm still searching.
Coastal areas in Davao Oriental Province also suffered heavily, with 110 people confirmed dead in 6 towns. Most of the affected areas remained isolated due to power outages, disrupted communication, and destroyed roads and bridges. Helicopters were ferrying troops in search and rescue operations. About 20 typhoons hit the Philippines annually. In December last year, Typhoon Washi killed 1,500 people in Mindanao. Quentin Zine, CCTV.
Meanwhile, 11 bodies were pulled out of Bolivia's Lake Titicaca on Wednesday after a small wooden ship overturned. Local news outlets reported that another 6 people were missing, while rescue workers were able to pull 9 survivors out of the cold water. The cause of the tragedy was unclear. The boat left an island on Lake Titicaca on Tuesday, carrying 26 people and heading for the town of Watahata. In another incident, an earthquake measuring 5.5 in magnitude struck western Iran on Wednesday, killing 8 people and injuring 12 others as emergency teams scrambled to rescue others and treat the injured. People fled their homes as the quake struck and brought walls and buildings down. Iran's Red Cross Crescent Society dispatched 15 rescue teams to the affected areas to search for people. Emergency workers had reached some areas and the number of confirmed dead could rise, according to Emergency Services Director Mohammad Sarwar. Turning now to Germany, there are around 100 navigational canals in the capital Berlin, with a vast number of river crossings. In a new book written by 2 local engineers, you can read about the many stories behind the city's bridges. And here's the trivia for you. In total, Berlin has around 1,700 bridges, which actually amounts to more than in Venice.
The Rialto in Venice, one of the world's best-known bridges. It's a favorite of tourists, as are the city's gondoliers. The water and stone of the city's labyrinth canals have been a romantic setting for centuries. Berlin, often known as Venice on the Spree, can't compete with Venice. There's hardly a bridge here that's more than 100 years old. Still, they belong to the story of how the city is perpetually reinventing itself.
For a long time, about 500 years, there were only bridges made of wood. All were drawbridges, typical of the Spree. They were low, and each one had to be raised because boats wanted to go through with the sails up. People had jobs opening and closing the bridges, and there were always traffic jams. Horses and carriages could never cross because the boats kept coming.
Eckhard Thiemann and Dieter Deschik love the bridges of Berlin and have written about them. The 2 are engineers, so their book is well detailed. It tells the story of how wooden bridges turned into structures fit for kings. with war scenes that served as the perfect backdrop for the Kaiser's cavalry. Bridges in Berlin's large central park, the Tiergarten, have a different flair. More than 20 stone or steel bridges crisscross over small canals and lakes. The authors also look back at a nearly forgotten bit of history, the Sixpence Bridge. Some of the bridges today still carry the names of the people who financed them, Janowitz, Eppert, and Schilling, for example. The bronze bearheads on the Karl Liebknecht Bridge have a story too. During World War II, they were supposed to have been melted down to make weapons. But the foundrymen refused to do it and hid them instead.
After 1945, the foundry belonged to an American. He secretly had works of art from Germany sent to his ranch in America. Then one of his heirs in 1994 offered them to the city of Berlin for a considerable sum. But Berlin said, no, we're not buying back our own art. But when a Secretary of State or President comes to Berlin, they can bring them back as gifts.
And then one day, a U.S. Secretary of State actually showed up with the bearheads in his luggage. Around 150 bridges are described in the book, with more great stories and hidden secrets attached to them.
Now a story on environmental concerns. A report released on Tuesday found that coral reefs in the waters off Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Guatemala are in fragile condition, pressing governments to step up protection of the region's marine treasures. The study conducted by the Healthy Reefs Initiative examined 193 coral reef systems in the region and found that offshore oil exploration, urban development, and the tourism are putting the delicate coral ecosystem under stress. According to research, the overgrowth of algae from polluted water brings with it pathogens which choke off oxygen and disrupt helpful bacteria that allow coral to thrive, turning colorful reefs to dark green. The Mesoamerican reef extends over 1,000 kilometers from Mexico to Honduras and includes Western Hemisphere's longest barrier reef located in Belize. Now, back in China, an international gala of the cultural and creative industry is set to open. The 7th China-Beijing International Cultural and Creativity Industry Expo is expecting more than 70 delegations from home and abroad.
The expo includes several selections such as exhibitions, summit forums, businesses and promotion, and more. It is a platform to showcase cultural and creative resources and provide a great many businesses opportunities, as the visitors will be treated with a multitude of cultural heritage exhibitions as well as products from around the world. The expo was initiated in 2006 and is held regularly in December. The event will run from December 19th to the 23rd.
And finally, in sports, Real Madrid forward Cristiano Ronaldo received the 2012 Spanish National Sports Award at the Pardo Palace in Madrid on Wednesday. Every year, Spain's National Sports Council selects a number of athletes as the most outstanding sportsmen and women. Queen Sofia of Spain handed over the award to Ronaldo, recognizing the 27-year-old as the most outstanding Ibero-American athlete of the year. Last season, Ronaldo helped Real Madrid claim La Liga by scoring 46 goals. He also scored 10 goals in the Champions League. Spain coach Vicente Del Bosque was given the Olympia Award for his contribution, making sports more accessible for disabled people. And that concludes the world news. Hope to see you again next time. Stay tuned for the local news.
Myanmar International.